Pleased to kick off our coverage here. College sports now live in Indianapolis. The road ends here right behind us, Lucas Oil Stadium. And we've got Nick Bahe with us from Westwood One. Nick is going to be part of the pregame coverage alongside Jason Horowitz. You have just your standard 3-hour pregame show tomorrow. You guys go on the air at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
First tip is at 6:09 Eastern. What are you going to talk about for 3 hours and change?
We are going to talk about every single player on every single roster in depth for a good 5 to 10 minutes. No, there's plenty of storylines. And what's fun about it is you can get into the nitty-gritty of each team. You can talk about the tournament at large, like you can talk about college basketball at large. So there's no shortage of storylines to get into. But yeah, when you frame it that way, you're like, man, that's a lot of time to fill.
Yeah, but it's a great gig,
yeah,
right? Like
amazing.
You and Jason have been doing the whip around show. You've been doing the studio stuff for the first couple weekends. Watching all these games, like how we got here. Of course, everybody's going to remember the UConn buzzer beater to beat Duke in the Elite Eight. But it's been a heck of a ride to get to this point now.
Yeah, I think it's been chalky, and there's been some blowouts, but there's been some incredible March Madness moments as well, starting with Otega Oweh's shot for Kentucky to tie Santa Clara and take it into overtime, obviously all the way to Braylon Mullen's shot. And so we multiple things can be true at once. Like it's you have the whole talking point of is Cinderella dead, and there isn't an FAU or a St. Peter's or a George Mason or VCU. But that doesn't mean that it's not been entertaining. I think it's been incredibly entertaining basketball. And, it is fun doing what I get to do. I was talking to Robbie Hummel, and what he does calling these games, he's like, man, Nick, if it didn't happen in a game that I was covering, I didn't get to see any of it. Whereas for what Jason and I do, like a lot of everybody else, like I have watched every possession of every game of the entire NCAA tournament, which really is fun to kind of absorb it all and then see the road literally end here with these 4 teams.
Yeah, you're doing the same thing we're doing at home. Maybe different beverage choices than what we're doing at home, but you got the screens going, and you're absolutely living the dream, right?
Yes.
It's a great gig. I'm curious. Robbie's going to be on the call. Him and Kevin Kugler's got play-by-play. Robbie Hummel, PJ Carlissimo are doing the analyst work for the Westwood One broadcast, which, by the way, live on the Varsity app, also the Westwood One app, starting at 3 o'clock with the pregame. And again, the first game, 6:09, Illinois and UConn, Michigan zona. Well, let's call it 9 o'clock. Let's just round up, 9 o'clock Eastern. You and Robbie one-on-one. Is that competitive? You're laughing.
Not now.
He's got you in the height department, but I think you could rain some jumpers on him.
In my prime, which is like way further back in the rear view than I want to admit now. You're always going to act like, listen, I'm going to give Robbie Hummel a heck of a fight, but 6'8" and 6'8". If there's a dribble, how about this? Dribble limit favors me.
Yeah.
Because if he's allowed to just peck dribble, I'm going to get sooner or later I'm going to get put underneath the rim, and it's going to be a problem for me. Three dribble max, I maybe got a shot at it.
For our listeners that don't know, you played at Kansas, you played at Creighton.
Correct.
We're looking at this building behind us, which is a football stadium, okay? How much is this real or imagined when you talk about shooting in a venue like that from your perspective as a former shooter?
So when my freshman year, we played in the Elite Eight in St. Louis, played Georgia Tech, Jarrett Jack and those guys. We lost in overtime. And that was in, I'm blanking on the name, their football stadium.
RCA maybe at the time, or I know what you're talking about. It was early in the football stadium
correct.
movement.
And this was this wasn't usually now. You don't see that very much now, where you have Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games in a football stadium. It's usually reserved for just the Final Four. I'll never forget coming out to warm up, and my first 4 or 5 threes had to have been 10 feet long.
Wow.
Like it was the depth of it all was just. It was how I would describe it. Like, imagine you're in like a cornfield and someone just puts a basketball hoop in the middle of the cornfield, and you just don't have anything behind it. It's hard. It's so I do subscribe to the school of thought that shooting is impacted when you're in the football fields or in the football stadiums. We'll see how big of a deal it is for these players now. But I am one of those people. But I was a shooter, so I was like, the basketball's got to be right, the setup's got to be right. But I think it's a big deal.
Who does that benefit, Nick, of the 4 teams that are here? Does that play into any of these teams? I know Arizona, a lot of talk about how they don't like to shoot the threes.
Yep.
Do they benefit from that, you think?
I think so. I mean, they're the least reliant on the 3 ball of the 4 teams in the field. Illinois, top 15 in the country in 3-point rate and all of those statistics. UConn, a huge part of now they pounded into Terrace Reed Jr., but a big part of Danny Hurley's sets are for solo ball, Caravan, and Braylon Mullins to shoot threes. Obviously Michigan, they're known for their front line, but they have shooters as well. So I think if of all the teams that could win and perform at a high level and go 3 for 17 from 3, Arizona's the best suited for that, then Michigan. I think Illinois is the least suited to survive a poor shooting night, although they did against Iowa in the Elite Eight, but it's a different world when you're taking on these teams here.
Obviously, you've got a 3-hour pregame show coming up on Saturday. We're talking with Nick Bahe. He's going to be doing pregame, halftime, postgame with Jason Horowitz on Westwood One. You can hear it all on the Varsity Network app and on the Westwood One app. Is there a matchup of these games? You're looking at UConn, Illinois, Michigan, Arizona. Is there a matchup, like a game within the game, that you're most looking forward to seeing play out?
Well, I mean, I think the thing that first stands out to me is just the 4 and the 5 in the Arizona-Michigan game, because on paper they literally kind of perfectly mirror each other. Like, you know, when you're watching a UFC fight or a boxing match and they do the tail of the tape, and it's like, and you can see like, hey, same height, same age, same reach, and you're like, ooh, okay, this is going to be interesting here. Like, this is exactly the same. Mo Krivas, Adai Mara, Merez Johnson, Koa Pete. If we do a tail of the tape, pretty dang even between those 4 guys. So I'm just interested what it looks like, because more often than not, Adai Mara, whoever he's gone against, has not had the size to deal with him. Mo Krivas does. Same thing. Merez Johnson and Koa Pete are used to being able to. And you could throw Tobe Awaka in there too, the Big 12 Sixth Man of the Year, who comes off the bench and is just he's the best offensive rebound percentage player in the country. I mean, he is a bull. I interviewed him yesterday. He's
large human,
large man that I literally told our producer, I'm like, I would have zero interest in blocking out Tobe Awaka if he wanted to crash the glass. But I'm just. Merez Johnson, all these guys are used to, for the most part, being able to kind of bulldoze and just overwhelm people with their size. It is going to be interesting, and I can't wait to watch what it looks like when you have somebody that is similarly built to you, how that plays out. Now, Yaxel Lendeborg is kind of the X factor of that, because he is the most versatile. Now, Karchenkov is a terrific defender, too, and he's got size. He's not as big as Yaxel, but he's another one that, like, if you're thinking about building the prototype to guard Yaxel, Karchenkov checks a lot of the boxes that you want to see. But for me, to answer your question, it's just what the 4 and the 5 frontline battles look like for Arizona and Michigan. Man, it's going to be fun.
And, frankly, you know, Arizona and Michigan all season have been 2 of the best 3 teams in college basketball.
No doubt.
The bracket doesn't always work out that way, right? They have to handle their business to get here. But college basketball fans are getting the matchup that they've been kind of wringing their hands about since about January, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, because Duke, I felt like all year Duke, Michigan, and Arizona felt like they were a cut above everybody else. Duke felt like, whether it was the injuries or whatever, down the stretch, they were leaking oil a little bit. Like, I'm not surprised to see them. I picked St. John's to beat them in my bracket. Like, I thought they were a little bit vulnerable. And so I say all that to say, for the past month, it's felt like a crash course for Michigan and Arizona. And we don't always get that, where we have this dream matchup, this dream scenario that we want to see these two teams meet, and we get it. Albeit it's not in the national championship game, but we get it. We get to see what it looks like. And then to what I was saying a second ago, it's so interesting how they are similarly built in their styles and what they do. Michigan plays a little bit faster than Arizona plays. I think I would say Burries and Bradley maybe a little bit better than Cadeau and Burnett. Yeah. I would give that edge to Arizona, but just the way these two teams are built and how they go about attacking is just it's unique. And I can't believe we get this matchup. I'm so excited we get it.
What UConn has done the last couple of years, obviously their 3rd Final Four in 4 seasons, the way that they got it done, the Dan Hurley factor, all that going into this first semifinal on Saturday against a team that, you know, arguably, Nick, like, Illinois is going to have the home court advantage, right? Like, they're 2 hours down the road. Yeah. What are you expecting in that first game? Because UConn, I mean, the streaks that these guys have been on, right? Like, what is it, 18 straight NCAA tournament games in the Sweet 16 and beyond?
Ridiculous.
Like, they are impossible to kill. Once they get here, they usually hoist the trophy and cut the nets.
Yeah.
What's Illinois got to do? They are slightly favored against the Huskies. You agree with that?
No. Like, if I was an odds maker, I would favor UConn just because of the experience factor. Not only Karaban, but obviously the coaching staff. And just they're such an interesting group because they've made it here and they've not shot the ball well at all. And they've been able to advance with just their culture of competing and fighting, getting them over the top. And it's the thing I credit Danny Hurley with was 4 or 5 years ago, they had a couple of early exits in the NCAA tournament. New Mexico State got them. They had some performances where they had teams that were very good. They weren't good enough offensively, and I think Danny Hurley always felt like we could just outwill them and out-tough them, and that would be enough. And I think he realized that he needed to couple that with some more offensive firepower and creativity. And he has become, if you're into X's and O's, half-court sets, like, he is the guy. Like, he is amazing.
The stuff they run.
The stuff they run in the half-court is so amazing. And that's a credit to him being willing to, like, look in the mirror and be like, I need to get better at this. I have everything else in place except the offense has to get better. And it has. And so that's going to test Illinois' ability to defend. It's one thing, like defending Illinois is hard, but it's not complicated because it's very simple in what they're trying to do. They're going to they lead college basketball in pick and pop 3-point attempts. It's going to be a lot of ball screens. Either you're switching or not, and then they're going to attack accordingly. It's not, this isn't a shot at Brad Underwood, by the way. It's just like, it's fairly straightforward what they're trying to do. The question is, can you guard it? UConn, oh my gosh, you got to be ready to anticipate, communicate, staggers, slips, all these different actions away from the ball. And if your communication and your scouting report isn't on point, they're going to get wide open shots. And if they make it, you're in big trouble. So Illinois' got to be ready to guard actions. UConn's got to be ready to guard individuals. And whether they're going to double Mirkovic in the post, whether they're going to switch a big onto Keaton Wagler, those are the big picture decisions that they have to make. But UConn is... Terrace Reed Jr. has elevated his game. He's averaging 21 and 13 in the NCAA tournament, and they got the size in the Ivasic boys to potentially deal with him in the post. We'll see though. I think UConn feels like right now, and I'm not saying it's not right. A lot of people are thinking whoever wins Michigan Arizona is a real national championship, and whoever wins that game is going to win. Like, you don't sleep on UConn now.
Yeah.
Dude, don't sleep on those boys. Those guys are going to be ready to go.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Well, Nick, you got to be ready to go. You're on the air in like 24 hours or so. Westwood One's coverage starts at 3 o'clock. Again, the first tip scheduled for 6:09. Nick Bahe, kind enough to join us. Have a great broadcast tomorrow. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it.